How's it going? Welcome to my first ever video on this channel, Automatic Walrus. Hopefully I'm going to be showing you some really cool automations to make your professional, personal, general workflows better and easier to run. Any task that you're doing repetitively, I'm hopefully going to find a way that you can automate it in some capacity. I'm going to start off with mostly just software, little scripts and bits and pieces that you can run, but I'm also going to explore hardware in the future as well, and hopefully make your life that much easier along the way. So without further ado, let's jump into today's automation. So today's automation, I want to look at Google Sheets using it as a mail merge, which essentially means you can send out a bunch of emails without having to BCC or CC all of your mailing list on one particular email, being able to customize it, adding, their name, or maybe they have a custom message that you want to send to each person, but you don't want to have to copy some parts of the message that are going to remain the same 100 times because you have to send it out to 100 different people. I'm actually using this for a personal reason right now, which is I'm getting married in a couple of months, and I'm using this mail merge to send out information to my guests so they know what time to arrive and those sort of details essentially via email, so they have something to refer to. But I didn't want to just send out one massive email without their name or anything on it. This will allow me to put their name in, so it's kind of useful for that sort of thing. Let's jump into this. So as you can see on my screen here, I'm actually on a developers.google.com app script automations. They have some great stuff on here. I'm hopefully going to make things just a little easier for you to just run through, so you can see someone do it. Hopefully it will make it that much easier for you to run through this and maybe a bit faster. But if you want to just look at the text version of this, it will be linked in the description below, and I recommend you go over there anyway because of this button here that says make a copy. Saves you having to copy any sort of script over. It kind of puts it together for you in a sort of demo, which you can see here I've already got kind of set up. I'm actually going to delete this one. I'll show you the messages that pop up. The first thing you're going to want to do is come over to this page and hit make a copy, and it's going to come up with this message. This will always come up when you're copying something that has an app script from a source that, just generally speaking, this message will pop up. You should make sure that you're not doing this sort of thing from a site that you don't recognize. In this case, I know it's from Google. I also have used this script on a different account, so I know this is absolutely fine. So I'm going to click make a copy, but make sure you do your own due diligence. You may even find if you're on a work account that your account might be locked down to a point where you can't access that without like admin permissions. But in this particular case, obviously I'm on a personal account, so it isn't the case. So you can see here we have a few basic columns: first, last name, recipient, description, discount code, discount amount, and email sent. The two most important ones are actually the recipient and email sent. Essentially, the recipient, you put in the email addresses. I recommend not changing the name because you then would have to edit the script, but I will show you where if you do really want to change the name from recipient to email address or whatever you want to put in there. And then the other thing is email sent. If this column is populated or you change the name of it, it won't know whether or not it has sent emails to particular addresses. It will record when it sent the last email to them, and then you can keep adding more, and it just won't send it to those that were previously marked as kind of sent on the list. And I'll kind of show you an example of that in a moment. But to start with, let's just put together a little test one, and sub, like, and comment. And I'm going to send it over to my gaming account email address. Actually the account that I'm using to kind of set this up at the moment. I'm going to actually just remove all of this. I don't need it for this case of this example, but if you do find yourself needing some additional columns, they're here. And I'll show you how you inject them into your email in a moment. First of all, though, I just want to show you how you can view the app script itself. If you're not familiar with this, you hit extensions and then hit app script, and that will bring up a page that looks like this. Code.js is where the code is being kept, and this has what looks like a lot of text. It's the forward slash and the forward slash with the double forward slash and the forward slash with the asterisk is actually just comments, so it's not actually doing anything. But everything else is in theory. When I was saying earlier about if you change the name of the column, here is where you would need to update it to make sure it knew the constant, essentially the variable that it's being, essentially to be able to read it later on in the script. Again, I don't want to go into like super high level technical, like breaking down the script or anything. Maybe I'll do that in the future, but this video is just like how you use it and how you kind of can understand where certain things are. But yeah, essentially, it actually is very well commented, so you can probably just read this as you come through anyway. Just while we're on this section, if you scroll down on the guide, there is a modification section where you can add BCC, CC, reply to, or from email parameters. So this could be useful in many circumstances. Maybe you want to BCC a couple of people on all of the emails that you're sending out on a particular newsletter so that they know that these emails have been sent, maybe a separate bot or something like that. And you can also adjust who the email is from. This could be useful if you say, are running it from an admin account, but you want to send it from marketing@yourcompany.com type thing. So just if you have those needs, they're here, and you can it will kind of it gives you instructions and where you inject the code into things. You can copy the code directly, but we're just going to run with the basic one today. We've got this part of it set up. Now we have to set up the email itself. So come over to your email that you're actually wanting to send it from and the one that you're set up on. And you'll need to hit compose and compose an email. You can leave the 2 blank, but the subject line is important. So I'm going to call this test 123, not 4. I'm going to leave out the 4. And then what we can do here is we can write our email body. It's important that you remember the subject line. So if it is complicated, you may want to copy it and make a note of it somewhere. Obviously, you can just always come back in and see it anyway in your drafts. But I'm going to put hi. And then to add the different column names, you essentially do 2 squirrely brackets. I don't really know what their actual names are. I probably should. I call them squirrely brackets. You do 2 squirrely brackets and then the exact string that is the column header. If you do not do the string exactly, e.g. you do 1 too many capitals or something like that, then it has it just won't work. Basically, it has to match exactly. And if you do, for example, I will actually just show you this. If I put in, for example, hello, this will actually appear blank on the email, so this won't actually be sent to them. So if you are hoping to put their first and last name and you say mistype this or put a capital where it shouldn't be, it will just come up as blank, which won't necessarily look great, but at least it's not putting in what looks like clear mail merge settings. You should like and sub to my channel. Love the Automatic Walrus. So yeah, this is essentially my draft at this point, and we can see my subject line is test 123. To actually run this, all we need to do is then come back over to our sheet. Obviously have all your recipients in place, all of your information in place. I've got my first and last names. Hopefully I've copied these strings exactly. Just want to make sure, something to just double check, is to make sure there's no spaces at the end. Yeah, so we've got that all set up, and then you can notice there's a new menu here. Just hit mail merge and then hit send email. This then runs a script, but because this is the first time that we're ever running this script on this particular Google Sheets and it's not written, I don't have like full permissions. I believe there are settings in Google, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend setting this up, that you can skip this step for all scripts that you have set up within your own Google workspace. I wouldn't recommend doing that because it's always good to have this like check in place for when first time you're running a script. And essentially, what it does is you hit continue and another pop-up happens, which I have appearing on screen now. Select the channel that you wish to log into and make sure it's the same one that is connected. You're sending the mail from, because it needs permission to essentially access the ability to send mail from that particular account. So make sure it's the one you're sending mail from. In this case, it's my from and to. When you get to this page, it's just basically Google saying, hey, we haven't verified that this application is safe. Now we know it is because we essentially put this together. We've copied it from Google. It's no problem. But again, if you are copying this from a source that you're maybe not so confident on, you possibly don't want to do this. But there is actually another step after this where we go advanced, and then you go to Gmail, Sheets, Mail Merge, Unsafe. And then what this is basically saying is it needs permission to do all of these actions within these applications. Now, again, this is a point where you can go, hey, why does it need access to X, Y, and Z? And if it's showing things that don't make sense for the script, you may want to cancel at this point, go back and review the script and make sure it's not trying to do something insidious. But in our particular case, it's asking to read, compose, send, and permanently delete all your email from Gmail, which sounds dodgy, but again, we know what the script is trying to do, and so I'm happy to give this permission. Again, do your own due diligence. If you are in a company and you aren't the admin of the company, they may have this locked down to a point where you can't allow it, and you may need to seek permission from your IT security team. It usually will come up with a IT security message being like, "Oh, contact this email," or some sort of instructions. But in this particular case, this is a personal account, so I know it's absolutely fine. I'm also happy to run this, so I'm going to hit allow. Now, if I didn't actually do anything yet, I can tell you for a fact, we can actually go and see, say in my inbox, I have a security alert. That's from obviously giving permission, but I haven't received any emails, so I know for a fact that it's not done anything, hasn't sent anything yet. So to actually send something, I need to come back and go back to mail merge. And the reason why it hasn't said anything is because it didn't ask for this. So it's asking for the subject line of that Google draft. And this is where you again have to match the string exactly, because it's essentially going to take this string and it's going to look at all your drafts and it's going to say, does this string match one of the draft strings? If it does, it will then send that mail, filling in those sort of variables and sending it out to your full recipient list that don't have the email sent column. So what I mean by that is I've hit OK, give it a moment to run, which may take a second or two, and then you can see here email sent. Email was sent at 2 minutes to 7 on the 17th of July, and was sent out to these two people. Now I could then hit mail merge and send again, and do the same thing. I remind myself if I did full caps. I somehow managed to have forgotten in the last 2 seconds. I did do full caps. Test 1, 2, 3. If I hit OK again, you will notice that it will run the script, finish the script, but these didn't update. And that's because before it sends, it goes, oh, is this column populated? If this column is populated, it doesn't send it back to those people. That means you can keep adding to your list and you can see, oh, I sent to A, B, and C people on the 17th, and then I added like 20 more people. So I've sent them, maybe you have one newsletter a month. You send out the newsletter at the beginning of the month, and then you notice by the 15th you've got 20 new people after your newsletter, so maybe you've sent it out to them. Again, this isn't as complex and feature rich as something like MailChimp or one of those other mailing systems, but this is just like if you are looking to save a buck and you haven't got like a super complex mailing system set up yet, this is just a good way to kind of start automating that out. And then you could also look into expanding the script to do some more some better things, but we won't go into that today. But yes, so what I can do now is I can actually go over and show you that those messages were received, and you can see hi test 1 and then a blank line, which is where I had that hello. You should like and sub to my channel, and then you can see that the other one, hi, sub, like, and comment. You should like and sub my channel. As you can see that I did those different things. And yeah, that is essentially all you need to know for setting this up. You can, of course, fill in these other columns if you need to use them for things, and you can even add new columns if you need to. The position of the column doesn't matter. It's just reading these heading points, so you can add columns in here and add more details if you need to, and more customization. And that's essentially it. That is a mail merge that you can use between your Google Sheets and your Google Mail account or your Google Workspace account. And yeah, it's actually been really handy and saved me having to pay for a service when I can do this sort of thing. Well, I hope you found that useful. If you had any questions, or problems, drop them into my comments below, and I'll try my best to troubleshoot with you at some point or another. I may even, if it's a common occurrence, I may even release a video on how to fix certain issues. Yeah, just let me know. Give us a like, because that would be super helpful. Drop us a sub. I'm going to have more of these automations coming. Maybe this one wasn't particularly useful for you, but I guarantee that I will find one that you will find useful. And if there is anything you need automated, let me know in the comments below, and I'll hopefully be able to guide you through a way of getting it automated.